Welcome back. You're watching Live from Paris on France 24. It's time for Media Watch with none other than James Creedon. He's here with us in the studio. Great to see you as always, James.
Likewise.
Let's talk about Newsweek because it's a sign of the times, isn't it? They're abandoning these old-fashioned paper versions for an online version instead.
You can make a little paper aeroplane out of it. It's about as much.
As of December 31st, that's when you can get your hands on the last one, isn't it?
That's exactly it. So I think it's a moment, before we talk about, I suppose, strategy and all that, to take a look at some of the old Newsweek
right, because it's 80 years,
covers.
Isn't it?
80 years. The very first one, Laura, was in 1933, and if we can take a look at it here, it was around the time of the rise of fascism. And if we go to the computer, I'll show you the front page of it. There it is. Let's have a close-up of that. That was the 1933, the very first edition of Newsweek. Then you had this one. This was during the war, Japanese Army, the Dynamite of the Orient. And you've got circulation now over 500,000. You can see that there. And apparently at the time, even though there was only one weekly edition, they had a lot of trouble getting breaking news on the front page. So, it was
Those are the days you had to wait for develop the photographs, didn't you? And take
and the horse and cart
press.
to bring it along and deliver it.
It's quite miraculous, isn't it? The
Absolutely.
Change.
The Jap has... how long can he take it? The Jap. You see, you wouldn't say that now. That's a bit politically incorrect, right? I think that is an incredible front page cover.
Right, yeah.
That is Martin Luther King. Just to whip through a couple of the others, Disco takes over. That was 1979.
Donna Summer.
Some people were saying disco was kind of coming toward... Well, it was at the height in 1979, but not sure. Look at that 80s hair. That is
Spacewoman
Sally Ride. She
yeah.
passed away actually earlier this year. First woman in space with big 80s hair back in 1983.
Oh, more big 90s hair. Monica Lewinsky. Oh, yes, who could forget?
I think we need to go for the Laura Baines kind of nice and contemporary look,
James.
right? And just quick through, that was the turn of the century. Eiffel Tower on the front page into the 21st century. Of course, we all remember 9/11. Look at that. America is winning.
When
and
was that?
Why? That was actually earlier this year.
Oh.
And we all remember this one.
Ah, of course.
When Nafissatou Diallo spoke.
Christopher Dickey had the interview,
to
didn't
Newsweek.
he? Yes,
Absolutely.
he was on this channel last night. All right. Let's talk about strategy, though, because the reason they're doing this, isn't it, is to really make more money, I imagine.
That's
Nobody
right.
buys magazines anymore.
No, they tried. Tina Brown, who was the editor over at Newsweek, she tried to have this kind of shock policy on the front page, on the front cover of Newsweek. So you had this one with Princess Diana. Let's get a close-up of that. They brought her back from the grave and aged her.
It's a bit of a trend these days, isn't it? Bringing people back from
the dead. It is, and kind of aging them a little. And then there was this one, Hit the Road Barack. And this one, more recently, Muslim Rage.
This was very controversial, wasn't it?
Now, interestingly, right, BuzzFeed are talking about this. They're saying, look, don't blame Tina Brown, who's pictured here. Or hold on, she's pictured here. They're saying, don't blame her, right? She did try this shock policy, but she was trying to do the impossible, basically. She was trying to work, and she knew that the media ecosystem favoured viral images, but the images failed to carry the stories or the magazine with them. In other words, things were moving away from this viral picture, from the front page cover. It just wasn't going to be able to carry the magazine with it, basically.
It's quite a shame, isn't it? But end of an era.
Absolutely. And who could be following soon? The Guardian, in fact. This is reported in The Telegraph and in Forbes magazine. Apparently, the internal strategy, more and more, it's more and more likely that soon the print edition will.
Does that mean they'll be charging people to look at their online version?
That might happen as well. That might happen. But for now, they're sticking with this free website policy. But apparently, the newspaper is costing them a lot of money.
All right,
the print version.
The end of newsprint on your hands.
Absolutely.
That's no bad thing, isn't it? You're going to have to invest in one of those computer things, folks.
Spend less on soap.
All right, now talking of computers, Google, the international search engine company. Now their slogan is "Don't do evil," isn't it?
That's it.
But some people say they're a bit naughty because they don't pay all the taxes that they should.
That's right. Now this is a current battle going between the French government and Google over a tax that the French government wants to introduce for referencing French media. So French media are saying, hold on a minute, Google, you have all of this content that we're giving you, and you get all of the marketing money or the advertising money. You need to give us a little chunk of that. So I think the idea would be that a fraction of a cent or whatever for every time the article is read on Google. Google are saying, you know what we're going to do if you try to bring that in? We're just not going to reference your website. See, we have the power to do that, so
sorry, I don't understand.
We'll just make you disappear.
So if you search a news story and it takes you to a news outlet...
Yes, the French government is saying Google, pay someone, pay a
really?
little bit of money to the French
So if I
media.
search for a story and Le Figaro comes up, for example, Le Figaro will get a bit of money just
That's
for me
the
to
idea.
be diverted there by Google.
That's the idea. That's what the French media are lobbying for. It would be
I think
very
Rupert
complicated.
Murdoch tried something like that, didn't
But
he?
it would also, what if they tax Google and they don't tax Yahoo or some other search engine? And
Right.
how many search engines are there? It sounds like a very
Sounds like
complicated
they're
thing
trying
to introduce.
Squeeze a few more dollars
That's
out of
it.
them, doesn't it?
That's
All
it.
right. Just quickly then, a blind man who was tasered by police. What more can I say?
A crazy story in Lancashire, right? I think we have pictures of the man in question. He was tasered by the British police, walking along with his cane because they confused it with a samurai sword.
Oh, he
There was apparently a man on
looks
the
very
loose.
dangerous, doesn't it?
There was a man on the loose in Lancashire with a samurai sword, and the police decided that this was the guy.
dear.
Let's take a listen to him, actually.
Having had 2 strokes already caused by stress, when these volts were going through me, I dropped the stick. I did involuntary, and I collapsed.
Oh, that's
As they say,
awful.
in Ireland, you can't be doing that. You just can't be
As they
tasering
say in
blind
England,
people.
you can't be too careful. All right, James Creedon with Media Watch. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Laura.
much indeed. All right, more tidbits from the internet now with our daily dose of web news.
I think that's actually an international expression.